StraightallDay.com.
Dre Baldwin, workonyourgameuniversity.com. Topic of this video is be on time. I did a 3-part series on my show. My show is called Work on Your Game. Many of you call these podcasts. Mine is called a masterclass. In that show, I talked about things that someone who is, you have no resources, no name, no notoriety, nothing. What are some disciplines that you can start engaging with and enacting in your life or your career right now? And I did a 3-part series, so it's several pieces, but one of them is be on time. Why is that? And why is it in this particular series? Because you don't have to have money to be on time. You don't have to be known to be on time. You don't have to be famous. You don't have to have a resume. You don't need any special type of talent or ability. All you need actually is the ability to tell time. Does everyone listening to me have the ability to tell time? Okay, since the answer is yes, you do, that means you have no excuse for not being on time. You have no excuse for not being punctual and respecting the clock when there's something that you know you need to be doing, whether you're doing it with and for yourself or you're doing it with and for other people. And by the way, let me add on this other piece because it's a big part of it. Early is the same as being on time. Being on time, quote unquote, is the same as being late, and being late means you're being forgotten. Early is on time. So when I say be on time, that means if something is starting at 4 o'clock, you should be there at 3:45, ready to go and waiting for whatever the thing is to begin, because you already got there early before it even started, or at least before the announced start time. And if you happen to be working with a bunch of other on-point people, they'll be early too. Chances are, though, just from my life experience, you're going to be the first one there. If you show up 15 minutes early for everything you do, you'll be the first one there. Most people are not. They're not on point like this. Even people who have more success, more experiences, more knowledge, more whatever than you, they tend to not have this level of discipline. So this will separate you from a whole bunch of other people very easily, and is a very simple habit that anybody can have. When I first heard of this, actually, I was in like health class in high school, and one of our health teachers, he would always say that. He said, anything you're going to do in life, he would speak specifically about a job interview. He said, you got a job interview, be there 15 minutes early. Why? Because it shows them that they know that you are thinking about it. And that shows respect to the job, shows that at least it demonstrates that you're a professional, on-point type of individual, and it increases the likelihood that you actually get the job. And I believe that. Still believe it to this day. When I was in college, one of my coaches, he told us when we had practice, one of his rules was any day that we have practice, you need to be in the gym and on the floor ready to go 15 minutes before the announced start time of practice. So if practice is at 4 o'clock, that means everybody on the team needs to be in the gym, dressed, shoes tied, all of that at 3:45. So if you walk in the gym at 3:50, then technically you're late. And he held everybody, for the most part, to that standard throughout the season. The point being, and what he was instilling in us, and he never explained it, he should have, but what he was instilling in us was that whenever you are serious about something that you're doing, you're always on time and early in doing it. You don't just show up whenever you feel like it. You damn sure don't show up late, and you show respect to yourself and to everyone you're working with, as I said, by being early, because it shows that you're thinking about it. It shows that you put some forethought into the thing that you're doing, and you're letting everybody else know, hey, I care about this, I want to do this, I want this to be successful. And some of you may be thinking, well, can't you care about something and want to do it and want it to be successful and just show up at 4 o'clock if the announced time says 4 o'clock? The answer is yes, you can. And here's the other piece of that answer. If you're doing the same thing that everybody else is doing, how are you going to separate yourself? How are you going to separate yourself from the competition if your process is the same as the process of everyone who you are competing against and allegedly trying to outdo, to beat, to outshine, or to just make yourself stand out from? You're doing the same thing that they're doing, you can't stand out from. So if, with all other things being equal, everything else being equal that I've just talked about, if you want one reason why you need to be early for the things that you do is because most other people are not going to be early for anything. Most people just show up to stuff whenever they feel like it, and sometimes they show up whenever they feel like it because they've earned the right to do that. If they have a resume, they're known, they have a lot of accomplishments in that space. But if someone is really, really serious, they still show up early. But I find that a lot of people, once they get some accomplishments, they tend to take their foot off the gas, show up right on time, or maybe even a little bit late. Nobody says anything, nobody checks them, and they're not thinking about this stuff, so it doesn't apply to them. I'm telling you that it applies to you. You want to be a high-level person, you want to be an A player or a level 10 player, as people like to say, be early. This is one thing you can do. Now, you got to have some skill, you got to have some game, you got to perform, you got to produce results, you got to be consistent. There's a whole other bunch of pieces that you can add to this mix. But one thing that any of you can do right now, starting today, is be early. I said be on time, but when I say be on time, what that actually means is be early. How do you do this on a technical level? First of all, you need to start scheduling your tasks. Stuff you do over the course of a day, you need to start scheduling this stuff. i.e., if you know you need to record some episodes for your podcast, you need to put it on your day planner, on your calendar. At this time, on this day, I'm going to record this episode of my show. You're going to record 2 or 3, put that on there. And block off the amount of time that you are allotting yourself to get the task done. Actually start putting in your calendar how much time you're going to take to get a task done. Give yourself a specific time to start doing it, and give yourself a specific time to finish doing it. Again, the same way that if you had a job and they said be at work at 8 o'clock, you can't just keep walking in at 8:05, you're going to get fired. Is this true or not? And when you give yourself a specific time to start a task, start the task at the time that you said you would, and finish it at the time that you said you would. Do that consistently, you're going to start having more respect. First of all, for yourself and your own process. Then when you start bringing other people into your process, they will respect it because they already see that you have established respect for it. And then if you ever find yourself working for or with other people, because you've already built this habit of respecting time and respecting the process, getting things done when it's supposed to be done and within a certain allotted time, it won't be hard for you to follow somebody else's process. All of this, the discipline that you build, and that discipline is built through structure. Now, I'm giving you the structure for how you start building this discipline. Just every day, showing up on time, doing what you're supposed to do. Again, respecting the clock, using your calendar, knowing when something's supposed to start, knowing when something is supposed to finish, and honoring it. Is there anyone who cannot do any of this? Okay, good. If you want to work with me directly and have me as your direct coach, go to workonyourgameuniversity.com. Of course, we work with people on things like this, but we go even further than this in terms of how can you do this overall in your business? How can you systematize your behaviors for the things you want to do and systematize the behaviors of your business for the things you want to achieve? And we do this on both the personal level and the professional level, and we do a lot more than just time. Some of you call this time management. It was really self-management, self-accountability. We do a lot more than that. Just go to workonyourgameuniversity.com and you'll see what your next steps are. Work on your game. Dre, all